Ambassador Ta stood tall as he walked into the grand meeting hall of the Galactic Council. The room was filled with representatives from 47 alien species. Most of them looked down on humans. They always had. Ta felt the weight of Earth on his shoulders. For 20 years, humans had tried to be good members of the galactic community. For 20 years, they had given in to demands. They had shared some technology, but kept their best advances hidden. They had allowed the Council to limit where humans could travel and settle. And for what? More demands, more limits, more disrespect. Lieutenant Commander Jin walked 2 steps behind Ta. She scanned the room, noting which species were present. The lizard-like Vox sat at the head of the U-shaped table. Of course they did. They had ruled the Council for centuries. Ambassador Ta, how nice of Earth to join us, said High Counselor Merrick of the Vox. His scales shimmered in the light. His voice sounded friendly, but his eyes were cold. We have prepared a new agreement for your people to sign. Ta did not sit down. This was not in the plan. Jin gave him a small nod. Before we discuss any new agreements, Ta said, I want to ask about the weapons your empire has been sending to colonies near Earth space. The room went quiet. Many delegates looked surprised. Some looked guilty. Merrick's tail twitched. I don't know what you mean. Ta pulled out a small device and pressed a button. The 3D image appeared above the table. It showed Vox ships unloading weapons at a colony world. These images were taken 3 days ago. Ta said, You are giving planet-killer missiles to the Zoth colonies that border our space. Why? Merrick laughed. Your primitive paranoia is showing, human. Those are mining tools. Mining tools that can destroy a planet. Jin spoke up. She stepped forward and changed the image to show the technical specs of the weapons. We've seen these before. We know what they do. The delegates began to whisper to each other. Some were clearly shocked. Others seemed to have known all along. Todd felt a strange calm come over him. Earth had suspected this for years. Now they had proof. And now they had a choice. For 2 decades, Ta said loudly, silencing the whispers, humanity has tried to be a good neighbor. We have followed your rules. We have traded fairly. We have shared knowledge. He looked around the room, meeting the many different eyes of the alien delegates. And how have you repaid us? With lies, with threats, with weapons aimed at our worlds. Tay took a deep breath. Earth's leaders had given him permission to make this call if needed. The military was ready. The hidden fleets were in position. As of this moment, Earth and all human colonies withdraw from peace negotiations with the Galactic Council. The room erupted in chaos. Delegates jumped to their feet. Some shouted. Some reached for communication devices. You cannot do this, Merrick hissed. For the first time, his calm mask slipped. You need us. Ta smiled. No, I think you need us. And you just realized it. He turned and began walking out, Jin at his side. What happens now? Jin asked quietly. Now, Ta said, we show them who humans really are. Behind them, the council chamber had turned into a scene of panic. The Vox delegates were shouting orders. Smaller species were huddled in frightened groups. The few who had treated humans well looked worried. No one had ever walked away from the council before. No one had dared. As the Earth ship pulled away from the station, Ta looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, Earth's hidden strength was about to be revealed. The galaxy was about to learn why you should never push humans too far. News of Earth's withdrawal from the peace talks spread like wildfire across the galaxy. Within hours, every species in the Galactic Council knew. Panic followed. On the Vox homeworld, Emperor Vexnall smashed a crystal cup against the wall of his palace. You told me the humans would always back down, he shouted at his advisors. The tall, scaled aliens bowed their heads. You said they were weak. They have always backed down before, Emperor, one advisor said. We do not understand this change. Find out what they are planning. The Emperor hissed. Now. On Earth, Military Director Sue stood before the United Earth Defense Council. The room was filled with the top military and political leaders of humanity. Large screens showed the status of Earth's forces across the galaxy. Operation Thunderclap is now active, Sue said. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were bright with excitement. All hidden fleets have received their orders. How long have we been preparing for this? Asked one council member. Sue smiled. Since the day we met the Vox. We knew what they were from the start. She pressed a button, and the screens changed to show hundreds of ships appearing as if from nowhere. Some had been hiding in asteroid fields. Others had been disguised as mining stations. Many were emerging from jump points where no one knew humans could travel. For 20 years, we showed them only what we wanted them to see, Sue said. We let them think our ships were slow. We let them think our weapons were weak. We let them think we needed their help. The council members watched in awe as the true might of Earth's Navy revealed itself across the galaxy. And now? Asked the head counselor. Now we show them the truth, said Sue. Captain Hans stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance. The ship was Earth's newest and most powerful battleship. Until today, it had been kept secret, hidden in the dark side of Pluto. Captain, we have received our orders, said his first officer. Han read the encrypted message. The Defiance was to move to the edge of Vox space. A smile spread across his face. Set course for the Vega jump point, he ordered. It's time to show what this ship can do. As the massive vessel powered up its engines, the crew felt a mix of fear and pride. They had trained for years in secret. Now they would face the enemy that had looked down on humans for so long. Sir, will there be war? Asked a young officer. Maybe, Han said. But the Vox don't know what they're up against. In a quiet corner of the galaxy, Diplomat Minna sat across from a representative of the Joral, a small bird-like species that had suffered under Vox rule for centuries. Your people are brave, said the Joral diplomat. His feathers quivered with emotion. No one has ever stood up to the Vox like this. We've been patient, Minna said. Maybe too patient, but we saw how they treated your people and others. We watched, and we learned. Many species will support you in secret, the Joral said. We cannot do so openly yet. The Vox would destroy our worlds. Minna nodded. We understand. We don't expect anyone to fight our battles. But remember what happens in the coming days. The Joral leaned forward. What will happen? The Vox believe they know what humans are capable of, Minna said with a small smile. They are about to learn how wrong they are. Across the galaxy, markets crashed as trade routes through human space were suddenly considered dangerous. Ships changed course to avoid human territories. The Vox ordered their fleets to prepare for war. But even as they did, a message arrived from Earth. It was broadcast on all channels, in all languages. We did not want this fight, said the message from Military Director Sue. But we are ready for it. The Vox Empire will learn that humans should not be underestimated. The message ended with a simple statement that sent chills through the galaxy. We have only just begun. They are coming, said the commander of Jupiter Outpost. Vox fleet. At least 30 ships. Dr. Kim nodded calmly. She had been waiting for this moment for years. As head of Earth's Advanced Weapons Division, she had built defenses that no one in the galaxy knew about. Let them come, she said. Activate the Artemis network. Around Jupiter, hundreds of small satellites that had appeared to be simple research stations suddenly came to life. Their outer shells fell away, revealing weapons platforms. They moved into formation, guided by artificial intelligence that could think faster than any human or alien. Should we warn them? Asked one of her assistants. Dr. Kim shook her head. The Vox called this a preventative strike. Let them learn their lesson. The Vox attack fleet approached Jupiter with confidence. Their commander, General Drex, had fought in a dozen wars. He had never lost. These humans think they are brave, he told his officers. We will show them what happens to species that defy the Vox. His second-in-command looked nervous. Sir, we're detecting unusual energy readings from those research platforms. Human technology is primitive, Drex said with a laugh. Begin the attack. The Vox ships fired their main weapons, but something strange happened. The human defense platforms moved with impossible speed, intercepting every shot. Then they fired back. Beams of energy cut through Vox shields like they were paper. Explosions ripped through the alien fleet. Impossible, Drex shouted as his ship shook. Their weapons cannot be this strong. Within minutes, 25 Vox ships were destroyed. The others turned to flee, but it was too late. None escaped. On Earth, Military Director Sue watched the battle from the command center. Beside her stood Admiral Du, Earth's greatest naval commander. The Artemis network works perfectly, Sue said. Now it's our turn to attack. Admiral Du nodded. My fleet is ready. We will strike the Vox military base at Centauri 7. They think it's unreachable by our ships. Show them how wrong they are, Sue said. In deep space, Admiral Du's fleet appeared from jump points that the Vox didn't know existed. Human scientists had discovered faster ways to travel between stars, but had kept this secret from the Council. The Admiral stood on the bridge of his flagship. All ships, prepare for battle. Remember your training. The Vox expect us to fight like them. We will not. The human fleet did not move in a tight formation as alien fleets did. Instead, they spread out, attacking from multiple directions at once. The Vox commanders tried to predict their movements but couldn't understand human tactics. They are not following any known battle pattern, a Vox commander shouted as his base's defenses failed. Within hours, Centauri 7, one of the most important Vox military installations, was under human control. On a small planet far from Earth, a meeting took place in secret. 3 representatives from the Joral species met with a human diplomat. We have watched what your people did at Jupiter and Centauri 7, said the lead Joral. The Vox told everyone that humans were weak. They lied. They underestimated us. The human diplomat said. A common mistake. The Joral wish to offer an alliance with Earth, said another of the bird-like aliens. We have suffered under Vox rule for too long. The human smiled. We would welcome your friendship. News of the human victories spread across the galaxy. Species that had looked down on humans began to worry. Those that had been bullied by the Vox began to hope. On the Vox homeworld, Emperor Vexnall received the reports with growing horror. How could this happen? How could humans possess such technology? They were patient, his oldest advisor said. While we thought they were sharing all their advances, they were hiding their true power. They weren't negotiating from weakness, Emperor. They were giving us a chance to treat them fairly. The Emperor's scales paled. And now? Now, the advisor said, they are done waiting. Captain Jun could not believe what had happened. His patrol fleet had fired on ships from the Elorian Confederation. The Elorians were supposed to be neutral. They had never been enemies of Earth. It was a mistake, he told his officers. We thought they were Vox ships in disguise. The damage was done. 3 Elorian ships had been hit before the humans realized their error. Now the Elorian Confederation, one of the largest neutral powers in the galaxy, was angry. Jun made a decision. I will go to them myself. Alone. Captain, that's too dangerous, his second-in-command said. Jun shook his head. If we want peace, someone must take a risk. Prepare my ship. On Earth, not everyone supported the war. Dr. Hai stood before a crowd of thousands. They held signs calling for peace. Violence will only bring more violence, she shouted into a microphone. We should return to talks. The crowd cheered. Dr. Hai had been a famous peace activist for years. She believed humans could find a way to live with all alien species without fighting. The Vox may have been wrong, she continued, but do we need to destroy them? Can we not find another way? Military police watched the protest carefully. They did not stop it. Earth was fighting for freedom. After all, that included the freedom to disagree. In a secret meeting room on a small moon, diplomat Neri faced representatives from 12 different species. Some were small powers, others were major forces in the galaxy. All looked worried. Earth is not your enemy, Neri said. We fight the Vox because they lied and threatened us. We have no quarrel with your people. The Vox say you attack all non-humans, said a representative of the frog-like amphi. They have shared images of your attack on Elorian ships. Neri sighed. The Vox were using the mistake to spread fear. That was a tragic error, she explained. Captain Jun is meeting with the Elorians now to make peace. We have offered to pay for the damage and help the injured. Some representatives looked relieved. Others still seemed unsure. Why should we believe you? Asked another alien. The Vox have ruled for centuries. They have kept the peace. Have they? Neri asked. Or have they kept you afraid? Have they allowed your worlds to develop as they should? Or have they kept you dependent on them? The room went quiet as the representatives thought about her words. At the border of Elorian space, Captain Jun's small ship approached their main station. He came unarmed, a risky move. Elorian Command, this is Captain Jun of Earth, he said over the comm. I come to apologize for our mistake and to explain our actions. For a long moment, there was silence. Then a voice responded. You are either very brave or very foolish, human, said an Elorian commander. We will allow you to dock. But know that many here want your head. Jun took a deep breath. I understand. I will accept whatever justice you think is fair. But first, please hear me out. On the Vox homeworld, Emperor Vexnull watched with pleasure as his propaganda teams worked. They took the images of the Elorian incident and spread them across every communication channel. Show all species that humans attack without care, he ordered. Make them fear Earth more than they fear us. His plan was working. Already, several worlds that had been considering siding with humans were reconsidering. Fear was a powerful tool, and the Vox knew how to use it well. Commander Jai stood on the bridge of his ship at the Elorian border. He had orders to hold the line but not to fire unless attacked. Across from his small fleet, Elorian ships gathered. Sir, said his sensor officer, Elorian ships are powering weapons. Jai felt sweat on his forehead. What he did next could start a new war or prevent one. Hold position, he said. Do not power our weapons. Let them see we mean no harm. But sir, trust me, Jai said. And trust Captain Jun. If anyone can fix this mess, he can. The crew watched nervously as the Elorian ships moved closer. Everything now depended on Jun's mission and Jai's restraint. One wrong move could turn a mistake into a disaster. Colonel Sook sat in a small dark room surrounded by screens. As Earth's top intelligence officer, she had spent years gathering information on the Vox. Now she stared at files stolen from their secret archives. This can't be real, she whispered to herself. But it was. The files showed that for over 2,000 years, the Vox had been holding back other species. They had sabotaged technology, started wars between neighbors, and kept everyone dependent on them. Sook pressed a button on her desk. Get me Military Director Su. Now. Hours later, Director Su stood before the United Earth Council. Her face was grim. What Colonel Sook found changes everything, she said. The Vox are not simply bullies. They are manipulators who have kept the galaxy divided and weak. She showed the evidence on the main screen. Records of Vox agents destroying research labs on developing worlds. Proof that they had given faulty technology to new species joining the Council. Plans to limit human expansion that went back to first contact. We knew they were limiting us, Su said. We didn't know they were doing it to everyone. For centuries. The Council members watched in silence. Finally, one spoke. What do we do with this information? Su's answer was simple. We share it with everyone. Dr. Park had spent her life studying alien cultures. As a xenoanthropologist, She understood how different species thought and acted. Now, she was using that knowledge to find allies. She sat in a hidden meeting place on a distant moon. Around her were members of resistance groups from 12 different species. The Vox told each of us that we were special, she explained. They told the Jorel they needed protection because they were weak. They told the Amphi they needed guidance because they were too aggressive. They told humans we needed control because we expanded too quickly. The aliens looked at each other. They told us all different stories, Dr. Park continued. But they had one goal: keep us dependent on them. A resistance leader from the lizard-like Soren stood up. My grandfather said the Vox took our best starship designs a century ago. They said they would improve them. Instead, they gave us slower ships and kept the best for themselves. Others nodded. They all had similar stories. Humans have been gathering this evidence for years, Dr. Park said. Now we are ready to share it with everyone. Captain Hand stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance. His ship had just completed its most dangerous mission, infiltrating Vox space to find a secret research station. What did we find? He asked his science officer. It's a biological weapons lab, sir, the officer said. They were developing viruses that would only affect humans. Hand's face hardened. Send everything to Earth. The galaxy needs to see what the Vox were planning. Across the galaxy, communication channels erupted with information. Earth released all the evidence at once. The Jorel added their own historical records, showing how the Vox had kept them weak for centuries. On hundreds of worlds, people saw the truth for the first time. The Vox had not been protectors. They had been jailers, keeping the galaxy from growing. On Earth, Military Director Su met with Ambassador Ta. They watched reports coming in from across the galaxy. How long have we known? Tai asked. We suspected from the beginning, Su answered. But we needed proof, and we needed strength. If we had revealed this too soon, the Vox would have crushed us like they crushed others who discovered the truth. And now, Su smiled. Now the galaxy is waking up, and the Vox are losing control. On the Vox homeworld, Emperor Vexnal watched in horror as his empire began to crumble. Species that had been loyal for centuries were now questioning everything. Some were already in open rebellion. How did the humans find all this? He demanded. No one had an answer. No one had believed humans could be so patient, so clever. As reports of uprisings continued to come in, the Emperor realized a terrible truth. The humans hadn't just prepared to fight the Vox. They had prepared to free the galaxy. Emperor Vexnal stood in the Vox war room. Maps of the galaxy floated in the air around him. Red dots showed where his empire was losing control. Enough, he shouted. We end this now. Send the main fleet to Earth. Destroy their homeworld. Show the galaxy what happens to those who challenge us. His generals bowed. The Vox main battle fleet was the largest and most powerful in the galaxy. Over 500 warships, each able to destroy a small moon. No one had ever defeated it. On Earth, Admiral Du received the news calmly. The Vox fleet is coming, he told his officers, just as we expected. Their fleet is twice the size of ours, one officer said, even with our advanced weapons. Size isn't everything, Du interrupted with a smile. And they're walking into our trap. He turned to the main screen showing Earth's solar system. For 20 years, humans had been building defenses that no one knew about. Weapons platforms hidden in asteroids, mines that could track enemy ships, and the Artemis network now fully activated throughout the system. Let them come, Du said. Lieutenant Lee led her Special Forces team toward the Vox communications hub. Their ship was small and painted black, designed to avoid detection. Remember, she told her team, our job is to capture, not destroy. We need access to their communication network. The 12 soldiers nodded. They were the best Earth had. Each could fight like 10 regular troops. As their ship approached the Vox station, Lee checked her weapons one last time. For Earth, she said. For freedom, her team responded. The Vox main fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel near Saturn. Their ships formed a tight formation, the same attack pattern they had used for centuries. "Scan for Earth defenses," ordered Fleet Commander Zex. "Minimal defenses detected," reported his officer. "Their fleet is gathered near Earth." Zex laughed. "They think they can stop us there. Fools, all ships, advance." The Vox fleet moved forward, passing Saturn's rings. They did not notice the small objects hiding among the ice chunks. They did not see the weapons powering up. "Sir," said a Vox officer suddenly, "I'm detecting energy spikes around us." Before Zex could respond, hundreds of hidden weapons platforms opened fire from all directions. The Artemis network, directed by Earth's most advanced computers, targeted the weak points of each Vox ship. "We're surrounded," Zex shouted. "Break formation. Retreat." But the tight Vox formation, perfect for attacking forward, was terrible for defense from multiple sides. Ships couldn't move without crashing into each other. Their shields, designed to face forward, were weak on the sides and rear. Admiral Du watched from his command ship as the trap closed. "The Vox have used the same tactics for too long," he said quietly. "They never adapted. They never improved." On his screen, Vox ships exploded one after another. Lieutenant Lee's team moved through the Vox communications hub. They had entered without being detected and were now approaching the main control room. "Security is lighter than expected," Lee whispered to her second-in-command. "They never thought anyone would reach this far into their territory," he replied. When they reached the control room, they found only 6 Vox technicians. The aliens surrendered without a fight. "Access their systems," Lee ordered. "Cut off their command communications." Within minutes, her team had control of the hub. Now, Vox ships across the galaxy could not communicate with each other or their commanders. Captain Han and the UES Defiance led a small fleet deep into Vox space. Their target, the main Vox shipyards. "They've left their home territories undefended," Han told his crew. "They never imagined we could reach their shipyards." The Defiance's weapons made short work of the shipyard's defenses. Within hours, the facility that had built Vox warships for centuries was under human control. Across the galaxy, species watched in amazement as the supposedly invincible Vox military collapsed. Many had already broken away from the Vox Empire. Others now saw their chance. On a dozen worlds, rebellions broke out. On others, leaders simply announced they would no longer follow Vox orders. The Joral, once the most obedient servants of the Vox, now openly allied with humans. Their ships joined Earth's fleets. In just 3 days, the balance of power that had existed for centuries was gone. And at the center of it all stood humanity, the species everyone had underestimated. 1 week after the great battle near Saturn, Ambassador Ta stood before the emergency assembly of all galactic species. The meeting was not held in the old Galactic Council chamber, but in a neutral location, a massive space station built by the Elorians. Representatives from 47 species watched as Todd walked to the center of the room. Many looked afraid. Some looked hopeful. All were waiting to hear what humans would demand after their victory. "We did not want this war," Ta began. "We tried peace for 20 years. The Vox chose conflict instead." The room was silent. Everyone had seen the evidence of Vox manipulation. Everyone knew the old empire was broken. Now Earth could simply replace the Vox as the dominant power, Ta continued. "We could demand your obedience. We could force you to follow our rules." Many representatives shifted nervously in their seats. "But that is not why we fought," Ta said. "We fought for freedom, not just for humans, but for all species." He pressed a button, and a document appeared on screens around the room. "This is our proposal, the dissolution of the current Galactic Council structure and the creation of a new alliance based on equality. No species will rule over others. All will have a voice." Murmurs filled the room. This was not what anyone expected. Victors typically demanded power. not offered to share it. On the Vox homeworld, Emperor Vexnall faced a different kind of meeting. His own people had turned against him. Vox generals and nobles filled the throne room, their scales dark with anger. "You have destroyed our empire," one general hissed. "Thousands of years of power, gone in 1 week." Vexnall tried to look strong, but his tail trembled with fear. "The humans tricked us all," he said. "No one could have predicted." "My father predicted it," a voice said. The crowd parted as Prince Rexnall, the emperor's son, stepped forward. Unlike his father, the young prince had always advocated for cooperation rather than domination. "My father warned you that humans were different," Rexnall said. "He said they would either be our greatest allies or our worst enemies. You chose to make them enemies." Emperor Vexnall looked around the room and saw no support in any eyes. "What would you have done differently?" he demanded. "I would have treated them with respect," Rexnall answered. "And now I will try to save what remains of our people." The prince turned to the assembled nobles. "I am going to speak with the humans. I will accept their terms. It is the only way forward." Captain Jun stood on the bridge of his ship, watching as a small Vox vessel approached. After his successful mission to the Elorians, he had been chosen for another difficult task, meeting with Prince Rexnall. "Are you sure this isn't a trap?" his first officer asked. "The prince contacted us directly," Jun replied. "He's taking a great risk. His father's supporters would kill him if they knew." The Vox ship docked, and Prince Rexnall came aboard alone. He carried no weapons and wore simple clothes, not royal robes. "Captain Jun," the prince said with a bow, "I come to discuss surrender terms." Jun nodded respectfully. "My orders are to listen and report back to Earth. But I should tell you, we don't seek your destruction." "I know," Rexnall said. "That is why there is hope." Military Director Su stood down 3 human fleets as a show of good faith. Ships that had been positioned near populated worlds moved away. The Artemis Network defense platforms powered down their weapons. "Is this wise?" asked one of her generals. "We have the advantage now." "If we want real peace, we need trust," Su replied. "Besides, our goal was never conquest." She looked at the galactic map showing the rapidly changing political situation. Already, 22 species had expressed support for Earth's proposal. The Joral were actively helping spread the message of a new equal alliance. "For too long, the galaxy lived under Vox control," Su said. "Now they will see a different way to exist together." Ambassador Ta met with representatives from the Joral and 5 other species who had quickly embraced Earth's vision. Together, they refined the proposal for the new galactic governance. "No one species should have too much power," said the Joral ambassador. "That was the Vox's mistake. And checks must be in place," Tai added, "so that all voices are heard." As they worked, a message arrived. Prince Rexnall had reached an agreement with Captain Jun. The Vox would accept diminished status in the new order. The old empire that had ruled for thousands of years had fallen in just over a week. And now something new was about to begin. 3 months after humans walked away from peace talks, representatives from all 47 species gathered on Harmony Station. The station was newly built in neutral space, designed by architects from 12 different worlds. Ambassador Ta stood on the main stage next to leaders from the Joral, the Elorians, and even Prince Rexnall, who now led the Vox. The old emperor had stepped down after massive protests on the Vox homeworld. "Today marks a new beginning," Ta said to the assembled delegates. "Not a human empire, not a Vox empire, but a true partnership of equals." On screens throughout the station, the text of the Galactic Concordat appeared. It was a new charter for how species would interact, trade, and resolve conflicts. "No single species will control the others," Ta continued. "All voices will be heard. All rights will be protected." Prince Rexnall stepped forward. Many had expected the Vox to resist their new diminished role. But the young prince surprised everyone. "For too long, my people ruled through fear," he said. We thought this made us strong. The humans showed us it made us weak. He looked at Ta with respect. The true strength of humans was not their weapons, but their vision. They fought not to conquer, but to free. On Earth, Military Director Sue and Admiral Du walked through the grounds of what had been Earth's main military academy. Now it was being transformed. The first students from other worlds arrive next week, Du said. 26 species have sent their best officers to train with us. Sue nodded. And we will learn from them too. Each species has unique strengths. They stopped at a new building under construction. The sign read, Center for Interspecies Tactics and Strategy. When the Vox faced something new, they tried to crush it. Sue said, we will learn from it instead. That is the real human way. Dr. Kim, creator of the Artemis Network, now led a very different project. She stood in a massive laboratory surrounded by scientists from 14 different species. The Vox kept technologies separate. She explained to a visiting diplomat. They gave each species only what they wanted them to have. Around the lab, teams worked together on everything from medical research to faster-than-light travel. Now we share everything, Kim said, and the progress is faster than anyone imagined. Already, the combined knowledge of multiple species had led to breakthroughs that would have taken decades working alone. Captain Han looked out from the bridge of the UES Defiance. His ship still led a fleet, but now it was different. Ships from the Joral, the Elorians, and even a few Vox vessels flew alongside human ships. The Joint Peacekeeping Fleet is fully operational, Captain, his first officer reported. Han nodded. Send the message to all ships. Begin patrol of the trade routes. For centuries, pirates and raiders had attacked vulnerable merchant ships. The Vox had done little to stop them, sometimes even encouraging the attacks to keep smaller species dependent. Now, the joint fleet would ensure safe travel for all. It was a simple change that would improve lives across thousands of worlds. Back on Harmony Station, Ambassador Tai and Prince Rex Null led the formal signing of the Galactic Concordat. One by one, representatives from all 47 species came forward to add their names. Is this really happening? Asked a young diplomat from Earth. Will it last? Diplomat Neri smiled at her colleague. It won't be easy. Old habits die hard. But yes, I believe it will last. Why? The young diplomat asked. Because we didn't force this on anyone. Neri explained. Everyone here has something to gain from working together. And now they all know what happens when one species tries to control all others. As the last signature was added, cheers erupted throughout the station. After centuries of Vox domination, after decades of human patience, and after one brief but decisive conflict, the galaxy had changed forever. Ambassador Ta looked out at the celebration. This was why humans had walked away from peace talks 3 months ago. Not for power, not for revenge, but for this moment, the beginning of something better for all species. The galaxy had panicked when humans abandoned peace talks. Now they understood why. Sometimes, true peace requires the courage to walk away from false peace.